Well done. All right, the pressure's now on Councilmember Danique Miller. 2 exemplary performances precede you, sir. Sponsor of intros 860A and 861A. Danique Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for more than 2 decades now in my professional career, I have worked on this reform package of the commuter van industry, an industry that was born out of lack of services in many communities throughout the city from the MTA. And this industry has often gone unregulated, unsafe, and inaccessible to many in the community. Also, at times, it has become the biggest affront to Vision Zero that we have seen. I am glad to have continually worked across the aisle with my colleague here, Jumaane Williams, and many others to reform this. Intro 861 will increase the penalties for those operating outside of the industry, outside the law and outside the industry. 860 will study a lot of what has happened. It will study safety, it will study accessibility, it will also address the need. And so we will certainly continue to work on this and industry and bring the industry into the forefront and out of the darkness and give the people of Southeast Queens and other communities the service that they deserve. I again like to thank Councilmember Williams. I like to thank Councilmember Richards, my partner who worked on this in the community. My predecessor, Senator Leroy Comrie, the members and the leadership of the Amalgamated Transit Union, Community Boards 12 and 13, and also Hector Ricketts and Queens Van. We've come a long way, and I really appreciate the support. Also, Commissioner Yossi and TLC for the work that they have done. It's been a long time coming. We have a lot of work to do, but this is a first step, and I thank you for all the support and resources that have gone into it.
Thank you. You have beaten the competition, Councilmember.
Stepped it up. Stepped it up.
You know, we thought when Jimmy Van Bramer started so strong, but now there's a new hero. Now, my pleasure to introduce the sponsor of Intro 570A, Councilmember Jumaane Williams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I got to figure out what cross the aisle means. I wasn't sure. But
you know we were on different sides, man.
I do want to first thank Councilmember Danique Miller, because as he mentioned, we were not always on the same page when it comes to these pieces of legislation. But we worked out a package that I think makes sense and is fair. It provides what all of us wanted around this issue, which is helping to increase enforcement on the bad actors and actually some of the actors that have no insurance, that have not associated with the city at all. We want to do whatever we can to get them off of the road. So with these bills, we also ask and request for additional police presence in assisting the TLC in doing that. My bill in particular helps pull the commuter van industry out of the shadows. It is an industry that this city has gone to on multiple occasions when there was no other transportation, whether it was a snowstorm or a blackout. But after that, they went back to treating them very unfortunately. And so I'm very proud of what we're doing today. Mr. Mayor, I know these bills might not make the front pages, but I want you to know how instrumental this actually is to this industry. And in this day and time, to have industry that was built by immigrants, and they have seen other companies like Uber and Lyft come in and start to get headway, and they want to make sure that they were here and to feel the love that they've given to the city. And we've done that here today. We've given them a pathway to do this legally and to provide for their families, so I'm very much appreciative of that. My bill eliminates the 6-year renewal, eliminates the requirement for petitions, eliminates requirement to maintain records of prearrangement. I do need to shout out Leroy, who's in the back over there, Marcin, a bunch of Brooklyn van drivers, Hector Ricketts from Queens, Councilman Miller, Councilman Kalos, cool, Richards, former Senator Comrie, Nick Smith, whose birthday today, this is his birthday, my Deputy Chief of Staff, TLC, the DOT, and I want to give a shout out to former Council Member Una Clark, who was on this issue long before I was here. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. All right. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the Chair of the Transportation Committee, Councilmember Adonis Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I think that this is another way of how we address the issue of congestions in New York City. As you mentioned in the State of the City, you are going to be working with the whole leadership to come out with new ideas on how we address the important issues that affect our city, and this is another one. that is important. Thank you to you, and thank you to my colleagues, Speaker Melissa Margarito and Council Members Williams and Miller, for your leadership on this important transportation issue. Dollar bonds presents a unique solution to a persistent problem in part of our city, especially Southeast Queens and Central Brooklyn. In this area, there is always quality transit service, so small businesses have moved in to fill the gaps. Many of these commuter bus companies have done well, expanding the business while serving their local communities with needed service. On the whole, they are safe and reliable options, and that's why, in addition to taking a closer look into this industry, we are hoping to ease some of these regulatory hurdles in their interaction with the city, making it easier to succeed. At the same time, we know there are some drivers that have sought to operate outside of the law. They often drive erratically as they seek to escape enforcement, putting pedestrians and other street users at risk. This is why I'm proud to say that we passed legislation through the Transportation Committee to crack down on illegal operators, and I'm glad that the mayor is signing this legislation today. We must always do more to close the transit deserts scattered across the 5 boroughs. Of course, this takes time and money. In the meantime, we need to be sure that people living in the community across the city have access to safe and efficient transportation. Dollar bonds are undervalued part of this equation, and this legislation supports this industry become more familiar with New Yorkers and also at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you very much.